back. Welcome back. We are here. It is DAR Sports Media. Hoops Hour, man. We've been gone for a couple weeks. It's been a crazy week. Happy New Year to everybody, of course. Um, I'm, of course, your host, True. I got my man, Lee Harvey, Mr. 10-day contract. He's not in the gym today. Not in the gym today, Lee. Okay, I see. Got my man, Tev, with me. Of course, you know what I'm saying. He on the phone right now. He looking a little different. Look a little look a little different. And we got a special guest, man. We got a special co-host, man. We got a soon to be NBA agent, Dre Kinder, on here with us, man. What's going on, brother, man? We're glad to have you on the show.
Glad to be on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So first things first. First tidbit of news I think we need to start with is Tev and I have been kind of talking about this a little bit through social media and of course the videos on the YouTube. Uh, SGA finally has overtaken Jokic on these MVP leaderboards. Now, I personally felt like he should have been at the top a little while ago, but as we know, uh, NBA does have their love for Jokic and Giannis. Those are the top two guys, and I understand they're two of the best. That honestly, if you want to put it that way, they could be considered the top two players in the league right now. But although they are the top two players in the league, or amongst the top three for sure in the league, what SGA has been doing this season is nothing short of remarkable. And the Thunder, for the last two seasons, I don't think anybody expected the Thunder to be exactly where they are. Like they are on a 60 plus win pace. What did they win, like 58 last year or something like that? Like 57, 58 last year. I mean, to
57.
go 57 years. So to go and to have that level of success, make it like one or two wins away from the conference finals, and then come back and be even better than you were last year. I think it's a no brainer. I mean, Jokic is amazing. The triple doubles, the scoring output, his efficiency is great. And I don't want to like do the voter fatigue stuff because we already know how it goes. The voter fatigue is always dependent on who the player is. That's really what it boils down to. Is voter fatigue is who the player is. But in this case, I mean, number one seed. I mean, clearly number one seed. They got distance on them, and on a 60 plus win pace. OKC has not had success like this since the KD and Russ days, and I think that has to be rewarded. I'm in agreement with SGA on the top of the leaderboard for MVP. Lee, what you think? What do you think? Let's start with you, Lee. How do you feel about SGA?
Oh, I agree. I agree because I think they've won 16 of their last 17, and that only loss was against the Cavs in Cleveland. And it feels like after they lost that in-season tournament title game to the Bucks, the team hit another gear, but most importantly, Shea hit another gear, and it's only going to get scarier once Chet comes back.
Yeah,
So I mean, as far as teams in the West and where where what Shea's doing, uh, you can't think of another guy that can overtake Shea right now for MVP.
yeah, I agree. I agree. How you feel about it, Dre? What you thinking, man?
Me, I feel like, look, I think it's a close race, but I'm gonna take Shea too, just for the simple fact that he's been averaging 30 for the last 3, 4 years now. And if you're looking at Jokic stats, I would say for me that Jokic had a bigger window for more production. His production rate has went up with the loss of KCP. He's got more shots, and their defensive efficiency has went down with the loss of KCP. So I think if you're looking at everyone's room for growth, with Jokic averaging 26 last year to going to what I think 31.5, that's a 5 point difference. If you look at Shea, are we expecting him to go from 30 to 35, which is a bigger jump? So I think that if you can stay consistent from averaging 31 or 32 a year every single year consistently, it's not really a question. You're looking at the youngest team in the league as a number 2 seed in the whole NBA, number 1 seed in the whole West. So it really shouldn't be a question to me. You got a 15-game win streak, most consecutive game win streak you've had in your franchise. Not forgetting that we had Russ there, KD there, and James Harden there. So I think, like Lee said, man, when Chet comes back, that's going to spread the floor, man, because you got Hartenstein down there who's he can't shoot that three ball. So you're clogging the lane up right there. You bring Chet back. Now they're playing 5-out basketball. It's a different game. So you bring Chet back, it's going to be a real different look. And I think they can really compete in the West. But we're going to see. They're a young team. They don't got no experience, no championship experience. So we're going to see what they can do.
Nah, I do agree with you on that. They don't have that championship experience, but I feel like they're motivated. Like they look so motivated, and we all know how it goes, man. Like I
Yeah.
mean, the Warriors when the Warriors took over the league for like 4 or 5 years, they had really no championship experience either. They had lost in the first round to the Clippers the year before, and then they came back and they just started smoking. They're smoking
Yeah.
everybody, and the Thunder could be on that trajectory. Tev, how you calling it, man? You SGA leading the pack right now?
Yeah, initially I was on the Jokic or Giannis train, but Shea been doing so well this season. He's a consistent 31, 6, and 6 every single year. Well, for the past 3 years at least. One underrated thing, it's not really underrated, but a lot of people don't talk about his defense. Great defender out there, especially next to everybody on the floor. Um, got his team again, like Dre said, second in the league, first in the West, 32-6. And I think, like Lee said, after the Bucks game, they turned it up a few notches, and it's really undeniable right now to like Shea is MVP for me. He's for sure MVP for me. It is close because Jokic. I'll give Jokic props for unlocking Westbrook again. That's
Yeah.
one thing I like this
Mm,
season.
Who?
mhm,
He's been
Yes,
mm.
sir.
yeah he's been making West. I'm not gonna say making him look good out there, but he's a
Yeah.
great piece next to Jokic. So I got a high level of respect for that, but it's really Shea is undeniable right now, bro. I can't go against him.
I'm gonna be honest, man. You mentioned Westbrook, and that is that we just talking about it on social media about how Russ has found his he found a place again. We seen him
Yeah,
take a lot of flack over the Lakers stuff and even some of the Clippers stuff, and he looks good. They're winning basketball games. I mean, just the way they're working together. But I'm glad you mentioned that because I did want to talk about. I don't know if it's the elephant in the room a little bit right now for the Nuggets is that Jamal Murray still hasn't
No,
found what
no.
maybe they need to play the Lakers again. Maybe they need to play the Lakers again, and then he'll find it.
Yeah.
That's the only time he seems to find what he really can do. And it's strange because I feel like that's what's keeping the Nuggets almost from reaching like almost unbeatable levels. Because if you have Russell Westbrook that's playing the way he's playing, with Jamal Murray playing at the best he can play, I think that's a hard. And Aaron Gordon just got back too from from like he had a couple injuries this year, so he just got back. So I think the Nuggets can round into the best form of themselves. But let me go back to you, Tev, real quick. How do you feel about Jamal Murray's season this year? How do you feel about him? Do you think is it mental? Is it an injury thing we might not know 100% about? What's bothering him or nagging him?
I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes he does look a little slow, like he lost a step. So I don't want to claim an injury, but sometimes it's just not. It doesn't look comparable to what he has seasons before. I'm not gonna claim mental because I don't know what he truly has going on, but I feel like he is a step slow this season. So I'm gonna claim like a nagging injury. That's the one I'm gonna go with.
Hey, what about you, Dre? You feel like what's going on with Jamal Murray?
Man, I think it's the simple fact that it's the loss of KCP, man. That consistent shooter that you can have on the floor every night to give you that one-on-one ISO game every single play. I think that's a huge, huge hit to him because you got Russ, and respectfully, ain't nobody respecting this jump shot. So you got people helping, you got people plugging the lane, you got people stunting. So the simple fact that if you don't have a shooter on the floor with Jamal Murray, it's going to be hard for him to get into his bag and really get to his spots to get a shot off. So I mean, his production is only down 2 points this year, and you got a new addition of a ball heavy guard in Russell Westbrook. So you can, if they can get it figured out, they can still be dangerous in the West. I don't think they can go back to the chip with Jamal Murray playing like this, but they can still be a contender to get to the Western Conference Finals, if anything.
For sure. For sure. Lee, um, do you think Jamal Murray is going to turn it around? Do you feel like this is just kind of a early season adjustment?
I would say so. And they're not only an early season adjustment, but we all know basketball is a game of confidence. And I don't know if he's still like 2020 confident because in 2020, it didn't matter who was in front of him. He was getting a bucket. But I don't know. Dre may be right with the subtraction of KCP because although Christian Braun has had his moments, he doesn't command that kind of respect from three like KCP would.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It feels like Murray has to do a little bit too much just to get his. So if he can just get back to where he once was, along with Westbrook and Jokic, like what Dre said, they'll be a dangerous team out in the West.
For sure. For sure. It's funny KCP gets mentioned because I wanted to talk about his current team a little bit because my man's back and he is picking up where he left off before the injury. Man, Paolo Banchero has been cooking. He's been cooking. The Orlando Magic have gone through a lot this year with injuries. I can't think of a team that had back to back just continuous injuries. But I feel like now that they have one of their stars back, they're kind of starting to get that rhythm. Can start to get that rhythm back. What do we feel about the Orlando Magic and their ceiling this season? Because they have the potential. If they can get healthy, I feel like in the Eastern Conference, it's not like the Eastern Conference is it's not a slugfest like you can look at the Western Conference and say the Eastern Conference it gives you a little bit more of a little more of a middle ground. A little more middle ground to where if you need to figure things out or if you go through a rough patch, you're still right in the mix. So to ask you, Tev, how you feel about the Magic? What do you see? And I mean, Franz Wagner. Do we have a final timeline of when he might be back? Do we know?
Might be January 15th.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't him and Paolo have like a similar injury?
Yeah, it was like close around the same
Okay.
time.
Yeah, I feel like once everybody is healthy and like ready to really ramp up, I think they in fourth. They're the fourth seed right now in the East. So I
Wow.
think they'll probably still stay around that same thing. It'll just be a more dominant like 4 seed because they're 23-18 right now. The Pacers are 22-18. But just the fact that they've been competing with so many injuries is a testament to like how many like who can come out there and actually do something. And like it's almost like the strength in numbers thing with the old Warriors. No matter who gets hurt, somebody can back that person up. So
Yeah.
I feel like once everybody is healthy, it could get scary. They could be like a sleeper team in the East. That's my sleeper team in the East.
Yeah. Dre, what you feel about the Magic right now? Because
I
you
think the
just
same
kind of
thing, man. And we still talking about KCP again. That's a championship vet right there. He got a chip with the Lakers. He got a chip with the Nuggets, so he knows what it takes to get it done. And you got 2-star players, and you got 2 All-Stars. Now they might not make the All-Star game this year with the 65 game minimum, but Franz Wagner and Paulo is 2 All-Stars, bro, and they can get it done for you. So I think with the addition of those two, and you got KCP over there, man in the four with you, and you got Jalen Suggs that's playing great basketball. Cole Anthony stepping up. They could be a they could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and give somebody a run for their money.
Absolutely, absolutely. Lee, how you feel about the Magic, bro?
Despite all the injuries they've dealt with, don't it feel like it's been more the injuries than their opponents that they're playing against? And because like Paulo, Franz, Wendell Carter's gone through some things. Suggs is out. Yeah, I feel good about where the Magic is with Paulo back and Franz being back in a couple days. It's about getting everybody healthy at the end of the season. Towards the end of the once they can do that, they'll be fine.
No, I agree. Once they get healthy, they are definitely a sleeper team. I think they are hungry. They got three guys in Suggs, Franz, and Paulo who can go out there and get you buckets. They got a veteran in KCP, and even a lot of those guys have been stepping up in the absence of Paulo and Franz and Suggs. They've been stepping up. Cole Anthony love to shoot. He love to shoot and get that ball. So I have strong faith that the Magic are not going to be like a first round team. You know what I'm saying? And I'm really interested to see what they do in the postseason. I know you mentioned, I think Tev, you mentioned the Pacers are like right under them, right? I think right under them in the East. The Pacers actually just pulled off a great feat for themselves. They just ended the Cleveland Cavaliers winning streak. The Cavs, don't want to talk too much about the Cavs for a couple reasons, but one, because and Lee, you already know anything involving Ohio, Cleveland, I hate it. So that's just that's just me in general. But real quick, what does it mean as someone from Ohio, Lee? What does it mean to you for this Cavs team to be doing as well as they are? Because we've not seen them have this type of success outside of LeBron being there. Like outside of LeBron, helping and build their teams there and carrying them through his early years. What is it like having the number one team be the Cleveland Cavaliers?
Oh, it's been awesome. Cavs fans either on social media or demanding that this team be on TV because they are that fun of a watch. Except for last night, that was really their worst game of the season, and we're almost 40 games in. I mean, like, and they're campaigning each other like the players. They're campaigning each other for all-star, potentially 4 all-stars on one team. And I just hope that they can keep this up to the point where they have a 1 seed in the East, and then show what they're really made of come playoff time. Because I think there's still some doubt of, can they do this in the postseason? Can they win? Can they get to the conference finals? Can they get to the finals? There's still that cloud of doubt hanging over Cleveland, and I can't wait for them to prove them wrong.
Well, I hope they don't prove everybody wrong. But at the same time, no. In all seriousness, the Cavs, man, they have an amazing team. How you feel about the Cavs this year, Dre?
I like the Cavs, man. I think when you're talking about title contenders and you're talking about playoff contenders, you're talking about an 82 win team or a 16 game win team. I think they could be a 16 game team, meaning 16 games to get to that finals and get the whole thing done. I think they can get it done, man. I think we've seen Donovan Mitchell with the Jazz. We've seen his championship experience, so per se. we've seen his losses he's taken. We've seen him try to get the job done with the Jazz, and him laying on the floor after he missed that shot, and everybody's on him like, can Donovan Mitchell get it done? Can he get it done? I think this is his time to prove that. Give me the pieces, give me the coach, give me the system. I can get it done. And I think this team right now is playing great basketball, man. I think anybody that sees him, if it's Boston or if it's my Knicks, it's going to be a problem because you can't stop him. You stopping him, you seen what happened when they played OKC. He got shut down. Who stepped up? Darius Garland came over. He gets stopped. Evan Mobley's coming. So I think they got a deep team, and their bench. Max Strus come off the bench, knocking down threes. Man, they're a team that can really do something.
It's funny, Dre. You mentioned the next team I was going to talk about. Your
Yeah.
Knicks. Obviously, we going down the line a little bit with some of the Eastern Conference teams right now because I think the Eastern Conference has a lot of exciting basketball.
Yeah.
The Knicks. We talked about the Knicks on this podcast several times. We had articles about them on the website and in general. I find the Knicks to be a very interesting team this year because Karl Anthony Towns, for some reason, has found something that you saw some of it in Minnesota, but it feels like he's got a comfortable role in New York. My only concern, and Dre, I know a lot of Knicks fans might have this concern is come playoff time, how's everybody's body gonna hold up? How's everybody's body gonna hold up?
Heavy
And
minutes.
Tibbs is. I don't know what it is about Tibbs, man. Like I know people give give him flack and stuff. I feel like obviously the bench is not for the Knicks. It's not like you not clamoring to put every those guys on there, but I just feel like those long minutes that was an issue in Chicago. We saw what happened with Rose. Derrick Rose, and I mean, if you want to say Noah, some of Noah's issues came with some of those long minutes. I think that's the thing about Tibbs is it's the good and the bad. Is he's gonna play long minutes and they're gonna look great. They go out there, they look great. I mean, Jalen Brunson has been Jalen Brunson. Karl Anthony Towns has been great. Mikal Bridges hasn't he's had some rough games, but he's had some games this year. I mean, where he has just been on fire.
Yeah.
So OG. I wish Tay was here because Tay says OG is the greatest defender of our generation. Because he's a Knicks fan as well, so he got to hype up the team. But let me go to Tev real quick. How you feeling about these Knicks? How you feel about the Knicks right now?
I'm kind of iffy on the Knicks.
I knew you were gonna say that.
They're one of the teams that is extremely good until they play a contender. Like you can tell, like, okay, the potential is there. Every Cat is having a phenomenal season, probably playing more consistent than he's ever played, and that's saying something because he was great in Minnesota. Jalen Brunson is still Jalen Brunson. OG, Miles, all them, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Josh Hart, great hustle player. But once they hit a contender, once they meet a contender, it's almost like, okay, that's the difference. Like we see the difference between them and somebody who's actually like an actual championship contender. So I'm kind of scared for them once the playoffs hit, but at the same time, I know Jalen Brunson can hit another level. So, like I said, I'm kind of iffy on them. I don't truly know how to rank them.
Okay. Before I go to Lee, let me go to Dre. It's your team, man. It's your team, Dre. So honest assessment on your team right now this year.
Hey man, I feel the same way as Teb. I think that when we play bottom of the bottom teams, we getting the job done. But when it comes to playing the contending teams that's really up there for a chip, it's looking a little slow. Because I'm with you guys. I'm thinking if we're playing heavy minutes for everybody, everybody's getting 35 to 38 minutes a game. Can that be sustainable for us? And I know we got a rookie right now in Tyler Kolek, and I want to see him get some more minutes. I want to see him get out there and get comfortable because when it comes playoff time and somebody goes down, he steps up. Where's the experience at? You know what I'm saying? He needs that running the offense in an actual in-game situation. And the biggest piece I think for me is I want to see more of Deuce McBride. I had big expectations for him coming into this year. I wanted to see him averaging at least 18, 19, because he can man in that second unit. He's a prolific scorer. He can shoot the ball like anybody. But I haven't been seeing that much production from him this year, so I want to see that. And campaign, he's here and there. He can come off the bench some games and give you a quick 8. He can come off the bench and give you a quick 2 turnovers. So I think it just depends on how he's feeling that night. So I want to see campaign do something and Deuce McBride, and then get our rookie Tyler Kolek, and see him come in there and do something.
For sure, for sure. I think that is a campaign experience is something, man. As they
Yeah, yeah.
they say that for years about campaign. Lee, how you feel about these Knicks, man?
I'm a little bit higher on the Knicks than both of you guys. Um, but yeah, but I do agree that it does come down to how healthy they are at the end of the season. Those heavy minutes is the reason why they broke down eventually at the end of last season because Brunson got hurt, Hart got hurt. Uh, ev- Everybody eventually broke down at the end of that Pacers series. To keep that from happening again, you're gonna have to eventually give guys like Kolek and McBride some more run. Just not like starters minutes, but like maybe like 20, 25 minutes every other night. That experience will go a long way for them.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see the Knicks in the playoffs. I will say that. The one thing I do love about the Knicks in the playoffs, and I'm sure Dre has seen that, is the Garden. The Garden, when it comes to the Garden in the playoffs, it's like almost like no other arena. So I am excited for that. Another team that I don't know if I'm excited about, but I'm excited about the leader of this team, and that's the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons, Cade Cunningham is an all-star. He's playing like a superstar. I mean, this guy is amazing at what he does. He is getting it done in every facet of the game. He's putting up triple doubles. He is facilitating. He's scoring. He's got a solid shot too, especially from behind the arc. So we'll go to Tev. Tev, how do you, when you look at this Detroit Pistons team, because I personally think the veterans are actually filling their roles actually pretty well so far.
Mhm.
Malik Beasley, Malik Beasley is Malik Beasley. You know what I'm saying? He gonna shoot that mug till till he can. But when he's on, it works. And the same thing for Tim Hardaway. Like, I felt like when the season started, I was like, man, they gave Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. They don't care about that man at all. And somehow it still worked out a lot better than I was expecting. Because I think we had a conversation like early on before around the season, beginning of the season, like, is it if this year doesn't go well enough for Detroit, is it time for Cade to start thinking about, once it comes time to maybe make some, move some furniture around, maybe make some moves. So actually, Tev, how do you feel about the Pistons right now and where they at?
Well, compared to where I was when we had that initial conversation, I'm gonna have to eat my words because I definitely thought they were gonna be mid.
Terrible.
Yeah, I thought they were. Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but yeah, they're pretty
Yeah.
much. Kate is averaging, I think, 24, 25, 7 boards and 10 assists, which is crazy. Um, he's kind of been doing stuff like this. Is just in the forefront now because they're actually a good team. They actually have a winning record. So, like you said, with all the pieces they got, I didn't think Tim Hardaway was going to be. I thought he was going to be bottom of the barrel, proving me wrong. They did take a hit with Jay and Ivy, speedy recovery for him, but the pieces that they have right now are doing everything that they need to do to sustain a winning record, and I think they'll more than likely make the play-in, and they might sneak somebody up out of there and snatch an eighth seed. Is extremely possible because they're a good, scrappy, energy team. So yeah, I want to see Cade in that environment to see how he performs.
Absolutely. Dre, what you feel about these Pistons, man?
I feel the same way, man. We heard his stats, and that's when you got a superstar on your team and you want that productivity from him, and you want to go to that next level. you can't just up the points. Every statistical category needs to be upped, and he upped
Mm-hmm.
the rebounds and the assists by 2 from his previous season. So when you got a superstar, you see what LeBron did when he was in Cleveland. He led his team in every single category. If K wants to do this with the team that he has right now in his hands, you got to lead the team in pretty much everything. The assists, you're averaging pretty much a double double. You got to do that every night to be a contending team in the East, which is you got a power four at the top with Boston, New York, Cleveland, and the Magic. So to contend with them, you got to have somebody that can get it done for you, and he's going to be their guy. So I think when the time to come for him to get that extension for his next one, it's going to be a he's going to have to get that big money because he's giving you a production. And if you want to replace that, you got to go find a 25-10 guy, and that's not easy to find.
Absolutely not. Lee, how you feeling about these Pistons, bro?
I felt a lot better about them if Jaden Ivey didn't get hurt like that, but they're still chugging along. This incredible improvement from 20 losing 26, 27 games in a row to now uh what are they, like 20-19 now or something
Yeah,
like that?
2019.
2019. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Cade, he's showing why he was the number one. Oh, Cade, he's showing why he was the number one overall pick in that draft, and uh, 7 triple doubles. Does he remind you guys of Luca when you watch him play? Because
I don't know if I could say stylistically. I don't know if I would say that completely now.
well, on the court, because like he's I think he said before that he wanted to emulate parts of Luca's game onto his, where the fact like you can't speed him up and he can get to wherever spot he wants. And if he can keep playing like that with Beasley, Hardaway Jr. shooting, anything is possible. By the way, Cade should have been Eastern Conference Player of the Week over Tatum. The way he was playing this week compared to Tatum.
They got to give it to Boston, man. You know that. They got to give it to the Boston.
Ah,
That's the money maker right there. Then nobody want to go
Politics,
to Detroit.
politics as usual, right? That's what they say.
That's a fact.
Politics. Hey, Tev, this next team that we talked about, this is for you, actually. Let's go to the Western Conference, Tev. You already know where I'm going with this, brother. He's shaking his head already. A quote, a quote that just dropped today from a one Draymond Green said
Oh man,
that said that the Warriors are in agreement that they don't want to mortgage their future, whatever that may mean, and whoever that may be, um, on because that's what bad teams and bad organizations do. We've had this conversation. Obviously, people who know myself and Ted, we do a little bit of reporting articles and stuff for the Warriors. We have our fair share of people we are very cordial with in the Warriors organization. So we don't want to ruffle any feathers and I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers when I say this, but has Draymond looked at the team in the last 15 games? I believe they are 5-10 in their last 15 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, their offense, the amount of dry spells in their offense. I mean, look, we all know how amazing Steph Curry is. We all know how amazing Steph is. Steph is about to be 37 years old. He's a smaller guard. So unlike a LeBron, who obviously LeBron is a freak of nature, LeBron is, he puts a ton of money into his body, and I think Steph does the same. And he hopefully got some secrets while they were playing the Olympics together. But Steph's knees. Steph has the knee issues. I want to say Steve Kerr said he had some fluid buildup in his knee, and that bothers him. So when you're dealing with your best player and your star knocking on the door 37 in his 16th year and having knee issues as a smaller guard, you need to then think about getting some, as they like to say, help on the court. Offensively, I'll give the Warriors credit for this. Defensively, they have had some great games this year, some great showings defensively. The offense is the problem. Obviously, Brandon Podjeski has not been on the floor for the last, and I'm sure Tev is happy about that one. Although Tev is like it. Tev, you like the only person I see that, like, every time you talk about Paz, like, you have not found one redeeming quality about Paz this last year or two at all. But I think for the Warriors, shout out to Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins just believe they just welcomed a new baby into the family. He's been playing pretty well this year. A step up from what he was doing I'd say last year, and his availability is what matters. Obviously, he went through a tough family loss. I mean, once Warrior fan base has a tendency to say a lot of crazy things, because once you've had a molecule of success, you start to clamor as a fan base. You clamor for it. Whereas sometimes you're going to go through those ups and downs. And the Warriors are right now in a down period. They just won the championship a couple years ago. You can't put it all on Steph and think Steph is going to always get it done, because everybody has a co-star. Everybody has a co-star, somebody they can turn to that can deliver. I mean, Phoenix Suns, they have Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. If you want to consider Bradley Beal, he might not be there too much longer. But LeBron is 40 and in year 22. He has Anthony Davis next to him as well. That's what you're supposed to do for a guy, for Kevin Durant, who is 36 and in year 17 or 18, for LeBron in year 22, who's 40, and for Steph Curry, who's in year 16 and 37. You need a co-star who can go and get you 2025, who can go out there and perform, because at that age, the older co-star is not going to always have it. I don't know if Jonathan Kuminga is that guy. I do think Jonathan Kuminga has shown a lot of promise this season. I think we've talked about this, Tev. The issue with Golden State a little bit has been their reliance on their system. Their system is designed for high IQ basketball players that fit into specific roles, and you have a lot of specialists on your team, not very versatile guys on your team. Like Gary Payton II is versatile and from a defensive standpoint, but you can't put him out there to 30 minutes because his body can't hold up, and you can't keep putting him against 4s and 5s, because that's not, playing above your size does not mean, let's keep rolling with that. Draymond is 6'6". Putting him at the 5 all the time is not sustainable when we got Wemby out here and you got Giannis out here and you got Jokic out here. And I think that's where we are now with the Warriors. And Draymond, a lot of love for Draymond's fire as a player, but to say we're not a bad team or a bad organization, when I can go look at your draft picks for the last 5 years, and I can look at some of the decisions you've made. The Jordan Poole for Chris Paul trade, I still don't really understand what the goal was with that. I thought it was to flip Chris Paul's contract and that $30 million contract and try to get some more help for the next season, and that did not happen. So I'm not really sure what the Warriors are doing. I cannot see the score right now, so I don't know what they're doing in Toronto as we're recording this.
Losing.
They're losing. I'm not surprised. In the Toronto
41 to
Raptors,
33.
okay, well, maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll come back. We'll see. But Tev, how do you feel when you hear a statement like that from Draymond, and then you also know Joe Lacob is in the wings, kind of playing like puppet, kind of a bit of a puppet master, trying to get people to kind of go away from making a big move. Although I think they're still going to try to get Vucevic, because Kerr is basically saying he wants to stretch big, and Quentin Post has showed that they, this is what we can do to, like, as if you didn't know that. Like, as if you didn't know what you could do with a stretch big when you had Otto Porter and Belly out there in your championship year playing 4 and 5 and going out there and hit threes. And so, what do you think, Tev? How you feel about? Do you feel the Warriors? And we've discussed this ad nauseum at this point. Do you feel the Warriors are actually going to make one more move or two more moves before the deadline?
It's gotten to the point where extremely pessimistic with this team.
Mm.
I do not believe they're going to make a move. I think they are all bluff. The Dennis Schroeder move did surprise me, so I eat my words on that. But I don't think another one is coming. If they do make a move, I'll eat my words again. But I don't believe it because most likely, more than likely, for the past decade, for this entire decade of the 20s, they've been nothing but bluff. Um, I think Draymond is delusional. I think he's blind if he thinks this team doesn't suck and the organization doesn't suck. Um,
Pretty black.
he make me mad. I'm not even gonna sit. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie. That statement made me mad because what's wrong? Like how do you say that? How do you get up there and lie? Like I lie sometimes, but I don't lie like that. Like let's be real. The team is not good. The spacing is terrible. The Steve Kerr rotations still are questionable. He barely plays Kyle Anderson. I don't know what's that's about. Um, yeah, the team just make me mad. I could go on a rant right now, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna keep it brief. I'm gonna end it here
I
because they
set it
make
up
me
for you
mad.
to go on the
That's what I'm
rant.
gonna leave it at.
That's why I set it
They
up
really
for you to
make me
go on the
angry.
rant. I did. I
Yeah.
wanted you to go on a rant. I know. You well for those who be listening to this, you can go to the Medium site and check out a lengthy rant from Tev. He and I worked on an article about the Warriors issues a couple weeks ago, and if they can be fixed. And so far, it has not looked very good. Dre, let me ask you really quick. What's your feeling about the Warriors? You think they're gonna make any moves? Do you feel like they need to make moves, or is it just a waste of season pretty much?
As far as moves go, I don't see who they could get. I think that time has passed with the PG move they could have made and him going to Philly. And they're talking about getting Jimmy Butler, but I mean, what are you going to send back for him that they're going to actually want? That's going to be a reward for Jimmy Butler, an all-star caliber player. I think that, like you said, they're a systematic team, and with the loss of Klay Thompson, we seen a nice flash of Buddy Hield in the beginning of the season. He was dropping like what 8 threes in like, I think 3 games or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really it's depleting their system, which was their split action. They're running that split action on the wing, and you got the screener that's screening for stuff that can pop out. He can flare back out to the 3 point line, and that was Clay. Now you got Andrew Wiggins popping out. You got Buddy Hield, who's inconsistent this season as of late, and you got if you want to say Kaminga, who can go dive. But I mean, they teams know what your action is already, so it's kind of hard to combat what the teams are going to defend with when you can't have a player who's going to shoot the ball for you at a high clip like Clay did. So I mean, if Buddy Hield can get back to that and they put him back in the split action with Steph, it'll look different. But as far as he's playing right now, I don't see the Warriors doing nothing.
Can I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think the problem with Buddy is that he's had to dribble a lot more with all the injuries happening. And I saw
Mm.
a stat where he's shooting like 20% when he takes more than two dribbles. When he just catches and shoot, he's at around 80 to 83%, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I think he's had to handle the ball a lot more, and that's not his strong suit. So with all the injuries that's happening, I can't fully put a lot of blame on him, but I can. But at the, at the same
Stop
time,
dribbling.
I give him some slack just because
Yeah.
he's had to do things that he's not necessarily used to, I guess. Shout out to Andrew Wiggins, most consistent on the team other than Steph, even though Steph been kind of rocky this season.
Mm.
Um, JK, phenomenal. He's been good. I'm not even gonna sit here and fake it like he's just been some type of mid player like some of the fan base wants to believe. When Steph is out, he holds the fort down, and I respect that a lot. But yeah, Draymond is delusional, and I'm gonna just end that right there.
You had to bring it full circle to Draymond. No, I definitely, man. It really sucks with Kaminga being out because we've seen he can go get you 33. He had nights when Steph was playing because they were like, oh, he can't play good when Steph plays, and he had
Mm-hmm.
nights where he could drop 26 and have 20 and 8, and so he might not be that that solid second option. But I feel like with a healthy JK, if you did make another move, did move some of those salaries, because the Kyle Anderson thing, don't really understand it. Gary Payton II, he commands about $9 million a year. Kevon Looney, who was one of their veterans, has not been consistently, playing. So if you're looking for salary to match for an all-star or somebody, you could probably do that, but like you'd have to go to a bad team that wants to just kind of offload salary. And the one team, I've mentioned this so many times online in general, seems like the Chicago Bulls are going to be sellers by the deadline. And the Chicago Bulls have a $20 million stretch big who is putting up 21 and 10 and shooting 44% from three. And several reports have come out in the last week that Vucevic is on the radar for the Warriors and for the Lakers. I think he would probably fit a little bit better with the Warriors just because of what they do. But I think if they could get a Vucevic, he's not a defensive big. It's not really his thing. But what the Warriors do lack sometimes are guys who can get boards. And they need somebody who can help space the floor. Vucevic does help space the floor. And I think having someone who can do that on the floor with them, who's going to play 30, 35 minutes, it just gives you another option. It's like taking any amount of pressure off of Steph, taking a little bit of pressure off offensively of Wiggins, I think allows Wiggins, because when Wiggins is at his best, it's when he's not expected to be the second scoring option. It's when he can be the third, maybe he can get you 18 tonight, but he's clamping whoever on the other side. Like that's where he's at his best. So when you're looking at like, hey, Kuminga's out, we need you to be 2022 Wiggins, which I mean, like even 2022 Wiggins was great, but it's a different time. The league evolves. The league is moving. The league is evolving. We can see in teams like like the Rockets, the Grizzlies. These are teams in the West that Ja was out last year, obviously, so that makes a difference. But the Rockets, I don't think people expected them to be where they are right now. And when you're facing these teams, when you're going against these teams, you have to spice it up. The offense is too formulaic. It's too easy to read. It's too easy to figure out. And for Steve Kerr is very stubborn as a coach. We've seen this. A lot of people have talked about Jerry Stackhouse, and Terry Stotts had a major impact on the Warriors early on in the season, especially from the defensive side. Draymond himself, although Draymond is delusional, he said a lot of our different offensive things and sets that we're running come from Terry Stotts. So our defense and how we're going out there hustling so hard comes from Stack. So the defense has maintained. It's not where it was when they first started, but obviously you're going to play a lot of tougher teams as the year moves on. So I think the Warriors absolutely should make a move. Whether or not they do, I don't think any move you're going to make is really going to make you, top three or top two in the West again, because I guess your top three players are veterans, but Draymond's like 34, 35, that's about to be 37. I mean, you can't, just run through them the whole time. So I think if they could get somebody in that $20, $25 million range. I know Cam Johnson was somebody looking at. I don't think Cam Johnson puts them over the top, but I do think Cam Johnson could help on the offensive end, and he can help a little bit on defensive end. He provides a little more size that they need, a little bit more size than they have. So, yeah, I'm like I said, I was setting it up for Tev to go on a rant because I wanted that Tev rant, man, because I knew that Draymond quote. When I saw that Draymond quote, I was like, man, I know Tev probably pissed. I know he ran that pissed. So I wanted you to do that. But I don't want to talk the Celtics. Don't feel like talking the Celtics this week. I feel like the less said about the Celtics. I mean, they just escaped with a win over the lowly Pelicans, and the Pelicans are they got Zion back now. DeJounte Murray, Zion, CJ McCollum. Not sure how much longer Ingram's out for, but that's another potential person that could be traded as well. It's interesting. The Pelicans, when the season started, I felt good about the Pelicans. I thought, man, they might be seventh, sixth, fighting for sixth, seventh in the West, but I didn't expect them to be this bad. But injuries are a thing. Is there any team for you guys so far, and we're at basically at the halfway point of the season. Is there any team that surprised you in a bad way and in a good way? Let's start with you, Dre.
I would say it surprised me in a good way. Houston. I think we saw Houston coming into their own last year when the whole Dylan Brooks talking with Draymond was going back and forth. I didn't see them being two in the West. I could see them being a play-in team, but I couldn't see them being two. But I think that Ime has been coaching out of his mind right now, and Jalen Green's been playing great basketball. Alperen Sengun's been hooping. Um, and I also had the Grizzlies. I thought the Grizzlies would be a number one seed. They're at number three. But I mean, I had high hopes for them too, and they're playing good basketball. But as for me, I think my teams that I would be most surprised with, and I would probably say the Sixers is a surprise to me. I had them in the top five, but that's bearing injury too. So taking that into consideration, you got Embiid in and now. You got your future rookie of the year that could have been Jared McCain with a season-ending injuries out. So I had them at five, competing to get booted in the second round again, which they always do. But I didn't see him sitting. No, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I think the Sixers are definitely the most disappointing team.
Yeah,
But I think it's because like you said, is it it's hard to be disappointed by a team when you're like, hey man, Embiid probably not gonna play,
yeah,
like it's like you already know. And then Paul George, I don't know. Like Paul George, it's like they sold him a lemon. Honestly, it's like the Clippers gave him a lemon really because he ain't looked like Paul George, like even he's not as explosive as he was. His first step don't even look like so it's just it's very odd, and I think age was also a thing, man. We're getting to that point, you know what I'm saying? Like we're generations before. When you watch Kobe, KG and Duncan start to wind down, we're seeing guys like Harden, like Russ, PG been in the league for what 13 14 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Steph, LeBron, KD, they're all winding down now, and it's like a whole nother generation of players are starting to wind down, and we're starting to see that decline hit for a lot of guys, and Father Time is undefeated. It's interesting. So 76ers would definitely be mine. Lee, let me ask you, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Teams that surprised you, good and bad. Who you got?
Uh, team that surprised me in a good way. I know it's a small sample size, but Sacramento, like over this
Mm.
stretch since they fired Mike Brown, Doug Christie's filled in, and and I don't know, it flipped the switch. I I don't know if he was. It makes it seem like Mike was the problem, but I didn't think he was. Um, and most of this winning that they've done has been without De'Aaron Fox, and um, Sabonis has played well as usual. Um, DeMar is starting to find the rhythm again, and Malik Monk, since he's been a starter, he's been what 18, 20 point per game scorer. I don't know how long this is gonna last, but uh, it's been good to see from Sacramento. Team that surprised me in a bad way, I would have to say Sixers as well. They overpaid Paul George. Or where you signed 4 years, 222. That's a lot. That's a lot for a player who's gone through a lot of injuries, and like what y'all said, his first step don't look the same. If he's not shooting well, just call it wraps. It's not going to be his night, and you can't you can't even get to the play-in or playoffs if Embiid is playing. It's not playing on a regular basis. It's like he plays one game a week, and they're not going anywhere doing that. So uh, those are my teams that surprised me in a good way and in a bad way.
Yeah, you mentioned the Kings. Shout out Devin Carter. For sure, he got out there a little bit. Tev, man, what teams you got? What teams
Uh,
disappointed you this year? What team disappointed you this year? I'm gonna get a rant out you at some point before we shut this down.
all right, now disappointment. I'm with everybody else. The Sixers. I had them as a top 4 or 5 team. Now, when they signed PG, I was kind of skeptical because you could see he was losing steps with the Clips. So I knew that signing was super risky, especially for the amount that they signed him for. If you want to know how to get away with robbery, ask Paul George. But yeah, I didn't. I thought that signing was risky, just like I said, because he's not PG that we know of. He's not shooting as well as he has. He can't really burst as fast as he used to, and also he doesn't really have too many options right now to pass it out to. So, especially and with Joel Embiid missing so many games, you never know when he's going to play. They disappointed me. I had them at 4, and I had Orlando at 5. I had that top 5 with them in it. But the team that is surprising me in a good way, and I think I said it the last time, was the Rockets. They're a top 4 team in the league, which is insane. They're
Mm.
25-12 right now. Um, Sengun, I'm very high on Sengun. Always have been. I always said he reminded me of Jokic. He's a baby Jokic, but Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, even though he got to give him props, even though he threw my man's Tyler Hero like a baby, but definitely good hustle player. He's one of those players that when it's time to really get in the nitty gritty, you can call on him. Um, yeah, who I'm trying to think who I can't really think of no other. My mind is drawing a blank right now, but that team has definitely surprised me. I had them at between 6 and 8, but number 2 in the West is crazy.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Rockets have been a definite surprise in terms of their success. I believe Tev has a article on the site where you can check out that he covers their success. And a team that never going to disappoint you, of course, is DAR Sports and Media. Currently, right now, shout out to our brother Apollo. He is currently doing some scouting work at the Loyola game. You can go check out the DAR Sports and Media YouTube. You're on it if you're watching this right now. Go check some of the shorts out. He was at the Georgetown game. I was at the University of Cincinnati game just a couple weeks ago. Will likely be at some games this week, so stay tuned for that. Got a lot more content coming up. Dre, real quick, man, let everybody know where they can find you at. Where they can get more information about you. Let the people know.
And my Instagram is my name right here, Dre Kinder 11. My LinkedIn, same thing, Dre Kinder Jr. Want to find me on there? Send a message. Want to connect? Let me know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make sure you stay tuned. Obviously, we got a lot of things coming. The Medium site is going crazy. Big shout out to all of the readers, all of the new followers, and people who have been sharing it. We just hit another milestone this month. We've been outpacing outpacing every month right now on want to say off the top of my head like 4 times more than what we did in December. It's crazy how things keep going up. So I really appreciate all the readers, all the viewers and stuff like that. So make sure y'all check that out. We will have football, uh, NFL playoff time. We definitely got to talk about these wild card games. Uh, interesting fallout from these wild card games. I know one's going on as we record this. We definitely will believe we'll have a World of Wrestling maybe in the next week or two. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, once again, this team will never disappoint you because the world of DAR never stops. All right, man. Where Eric at? Tell him cut this shit off.